All right, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's been a hot minute since we've all been here, but obviously, welcome to the week 12. I want to say it is Big Dog
Gee,
Campus. It's either 12 or 13. I keep forgetting at this point in the season because everybody's had buys and everything like that. But, you know, to put it lightly, it's rivalry week. So it's nice.
say it 3 times fast.
Rivalry week, rivalry week, rivalry week.
Don't even sound right now, does
No, no, it really doesn't.
it?
With as fast as this season has gone, starting in the last week of August, and here we are, last weekend here in November, getting ready for conference championship weekend next weekend. But obviously, I'm your host Ian here with Anthony and Dante. Dante, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing awesome, man. I say happy to that y'all invited me on the Big Dog Campus, man. I say getting down to the nitty gritty, college football playoffs and big rivalry week yesterday and big rivalry carrying on to today. So I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like these last few days have just been chock full of them, especially with the Egg Bowl going Mississippi State's way on a Thursday. Tulane taking care of Cincinnati, punching their ticket to the AAC championship, but yet Cincinnati can still somehow make it later today. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. But I mean, you kind of brought it up, it's college, it's playoff time. And well, there's, I guess, one of the bigger wild cards of the playoff finally gets to play out. It stinks that we always have to wait till week 12 for this one. And it also stinks that it's not the Big Ten championship game every year. I'm talking Ohio State, Michigan, and honestly, it's one of those. I This is probably the biggest game for each of them. I would say maybe since the '06 game, where it was number one versus number two with Troy Smith and Mike Hart and all those boys. But I know I was reading earlier before we went live that Blake Corum, the very touted Michigan running back, he said that, or everybody was saying he was going to be out. Apparently, he is going to try to give it a go today. So, he's the high reason that Michigan's offense goes. I know last time they played, I think Michigan ran almost 300 yards on them. So obviously, Michigan, they rely heavy on the run game. They're going to need Corum today. But in your guys' opinion, outside of Corum, what else would Michigan have to do to stop C.J. Stroud, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson Smith, and Jigba, and the Ohio State offense just from absolutely rolling these guys today?
Well, it's too early to go to the pastors and the bishops and all the clergy to make sure they get some prayers up to the man upstairs. But it's going to take some divine intervention. Ohio State is just stinking loaded, man. I don't know what you do. You guys got to pick your poison and roll your dice. I mean, shoot, you got to have a game plan that's not too extensive for the kids to be thinking too much. What do you do best? Is a rush the passer or stop the run, and you pick that and you go with it, and you give your DBs a little bit of opportunity to make a play if you get to the passer. Now, if you don't think your DB is going to hold up, you rush three and you roll the dice playing some type of zone dog, some type of zone coverage, and Coach Dante will let you know how that rolls as you get your scheme together and you get in a big rivalry game like this. You want your kids to be ultra confident. You can't have them second guessing putting in something so exotic they can't run it. But at the same time, you do need a little bit of swag going into this thing that they can believe that what we run is going to work against these guys. But let's be real about it, man. You look at that scouting report, and the coaches come in the room and they say, "Look, man, we're gonna stop C.J. Stroud," and the coach and the kids probably like, "How are we gonna do that, coach?" And immediately you have to instill some type of, "We got a game plan." So I'm really interested to see how that first quarter goes, and I'm really interested to see how them second half adjustments goes. It's gonna be a tough one for Michigan, man. It can be done, but I don't give them a really, really good chance of beating the Buckeyes, man.
All right, Dante, how about you, bud?
Just like he said, man, like I say, it's too many options for Ohio State. I mean, you got, man, from top to bottom, you got the tight end, you got the best receiving core in the country, basically. Got statistically, when he was on the field, the best running back in college football outside of Bijan Robinson and Muhammad Ibrahim. It's too many options you got to stop, man. It's really too many options you got to stop. Like you said, you got to come up with a game plan. Do I sell out against the run? Do I plan to stop Travion Henderson, or do I just play basic zone coverage if you don't feel like your DBs are gonna really hold up against the best receiving core in the nation? Like I say,
that
I
sounds
believe.
bad.
Yeah, I believe. I'm just saying.
That sounds
I
bad,
mean,
man. What do you do?
like I say, I don't know if you rather get throwed on or get embarrassed about just getting the run, or just let them run the ball all day. So it's not too much if you're Michigan that you can stop. They're too deep on the offensive side of the ball. So you got to come in with a game plan. Or if you don't want to get beat over the top, you just play zone coverage to try to keep everything in front of you. But it's gonna be really tough to try to stop both things, the run, and you got to try to stop those receivers in CJ Stroud. So it's gonna be tough today for Michigan.
This is crazy, man. Because I remember one time I had a coach tell me, or tell the whole team. I think we were UCLA versus Nebraska. I think it was like 95 or something. I don't know if it was a Tommy Frazier. Somebody was playing, and we were both 3-0. Coach came in and said, "All right, guys, we protect the football. We turn the ball over for them, and we get 300 yards of passing and 200 yards of running. We got a chance." I'm like, wait a minute. That's perfect scenario, and we only have a chance. Like we don't win if that happens, and it's almost like that. I'm not sure what Harbaugh's speech is going to be, but I would love to be a fly on the wall to see what that game plan looks like right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be an interesting, hopefully a drag out type of bang up game. Honestly, I feel like if this game's anything less than some kind of close game, there's going to be a lot of people that are just upset with it because we've been hyping this game up really since maybe week 2. It feels like after Ohio State dropped the hammer on a Notre Dame, everybody was just looking at this game, just waiting for it, waiting for it, waiting for it. And now both teams did exactly what they needed to do. But kind of what you guys were saying with Travion Henderson, he's been banged up too. Mayan Williams has as well. But I mean, Dallas Hayden, he's been coming out. I mean, it almost seemed like he had pretty much a coming out party against Maryland with almost 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. So you guys weren't kidding at that. The rushing game on Ohio State is just as effective as that pass game. I guess my only concern for Michigan would be how well will McNamara or McCarthy, whoever's starting, how well can they hold up against that Ohio State defense? And right now, it's not looking pretty. It really is not looking pretty. So I know I've been watching the line all week, and it's only gone in Ohio State's favor, even with Blake Corum coming out saying that he was going to play. I was expecting it to shoot up to like 14 if he said he was playing. I was expecting it to drop with Blake Corum saying he's playing, but it actually went up to Ohio State by 8 with it being in Columbus. I mean, is that being too generous here? Or am I giving Michigan too much credit here, trying to say that they're going to keep it close?
It's not too far-fetched, man. Again, you always hear the narrative, throw the records out the window. This is a rivalry game. These teams don't like each other. We're going to hear that all day. But I'm looking at it. No coach wants to get ran on all day. That's demoralizing. So what you're thinking about is even if you don't make the BCS top 4, you're still going to go to a pretty big bowl game, and you don't want to get demolished on the run. So I'm thinking, Harbaugh being the guy that he is, he's going to want to shorten the game. And shortening the game means you're going to run the football and attempt to make them throw the ball and make mistakes. So shortening the game is probably the game plan. 8 points. And if we're running the football, a cloud of dust, third down, a fourth down, cloud of dust, the game is shortened. So 8 points is probably what it should be. But this can either be a really good track meet or ugly one-sided, lopsided win by Ohio State. But again, we won't know till they strap him up. Can Corum really go, or is he just in the lineup so they'll have to prepare for him? If he's that injured going against the Ohio State team, he might not be helping himself out. And I kind of posed you guys a quick question in the chat. Hopefully we can discuss it later. Is like, what is the decision these kids are going to be making about their future at this point in this season for guys who are for sure going to play on Sundays? They don't want to necessarily mess up themselves for NFL combine or a pro day being a little bit nicked up because everybody's banged up at this point. but do you really want to play in this big game? And a lot of kids still have that competitive nature about them. Other kids looking out for self. So we'll see real quick.
Yeah.
9 a.m. start too. 9 a.m. West Coast time. So that's an early game, man.
Yeah, we're gonna know exactly how this college football playoff, at least I think the one Big Ten representative, it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. But I mean, kind of with what you were saying, is Harbaugh saying Corum's going just to keep it covered? But I mean, if either coach is trying to show any weakness, they're doing a really good job of not showing it. They're just saying, "Oh yeah, everybody's good. We'll be fine. Everything's fine." But I think we're going to see here, probably in a couple hours at warm-ups, we're going to see who's really, really fine.
It's chess, not checkers, baby. You got to play the game, even off the field.
Absolutely.
Skullduggery.
Yeah, and Douglas coming in saying, "Go blue, forget the line, and just hit somebody." I mean that's a good way to play defense, sir. That is a very good way to play defense.
Just see color and hit color. I don't care who it is. That's the wrong assignment, coach. Just hit somebody.
Doug said, "Just put a hat on a hat, huh?"
Yeah. Doug gonna get kids kicked out. He said, "I want your face mask right in his chin. I want you to put your face mask right between his numbers, coach. That's a penalty these days."
I don't think that matters in a game like today.
How many? He said, how many targeting penalties will there be today?
Oh no. I don't expect there to be any unless maybe Stroud takes off running, does that weird slide, and then, it just ends up horribly, horribly wrong. But regardless, I mean, obviously that's got to be the number one biggest game of the day. Obviously, with the largest college football playoff implications, we're assuming whoever loses will probably end up dropping out, but they'll still end up probably being the Big Ten representative in Pasadena on New Year's. But I keep coming back to this other game for really what I personally thought was going to be the biggest role in this, and that's Notre Dame and USC. As much as I've dogged Notre Dame, and AC, you know this, I've been dogging them really since like week 3 after they lost to Marshall, saying that they didn't belong or anything. But here they are sitting at number 15, and they've been on a hot streak. They ended Clemson's dream run here. They've really gotten everything right. They ended Syracuse's dream run, and here they are coming into Southern Cal, 4:30 your time, AC, to potentially end USC's run. So, I mean, again, throw the records out the window, forget the lines and everything. Is Notre Dame really about to do it again and get themselves into the New Year's Six here?
Sheesh. That's a great question, because what did Notre Dame do while we weren't watching? Like, when did they become 8-3? It's kind of like they was flying under the radar this whole time. And Freeman, in his first year, actually did good for himself, having his team in a good position to upset the Trojans at the Coliseum, and they're primed for an upset. Their defense is so suspect, and they're playing well at the right time of the year. Again, how did you prepare your team? To come out the gates running fast or to finish strong? And it just looks like Notre Dame was set up for this moment. Whereas SC, the identity is to throw the ball around the yard and hopefully we can outscore you. So I think this is prime for Notre Dame upset. They only got SC by 4 points at the Coliseum. And my UCLA Bruins last week played terribly and still had a chance to win at the end of the game. So I just understand, if Notre Dame plays a good, solid game, doesn't turn the ball over more than twice, they have a really good chance of beating SC at SC. So again, if it's in the top 6 from 15, I don't know if they jump from 15 to 6. I think they still get a solid bowl game, but I think they're too far away with 3 losses and bad losses. I mean, just kind of like, what is this? And I believe they were early enough for them to jump up in the top 10, but I don't think it gives them an opportunity to jump up to 6.
Okay. Dante, what are your thoughts?
I think Notre Dame is primed for upset. I killed them early on too, and said Notre Dame is the biggest fraudulent team in college football, and I held my standard up on that. Getting beat down by the Thunder and Herd. but then they come back, they beat Clemson. They not beat Clemson, they dominate Clemson. But one thing about I said out of the most fraudulent team in the top 10, I think is USC. USC defense is really bad.
Really bad.
They last 5 games, they gave up 40 points 3 times. They gave up 40 points 3 times out of the last 5 games. They gave up 43 in a loss to Utah. They gave up 37 to a bad Arizona team. They gave up even 37 to a bad Arizona team. They gave up 45 to UCLA.
4
turnovers, and still had a chance and still had 45 points. They posted a loss to Oregon State, who have the best defense probably in the Pac-12, so they got away with that game. They struggled in the first half pretty much against Fresno State. But like I say, the USC is a team that's trying to outscore you. They're not going to play defense too much, but at the end of the day, I think Notre Dame, they got to slow the game down. They got to control time of possession to keep Caleb Williams off the field, and their defense is going to be key in this game, and not let Caleb Williams sit back there and be comfortable in the pocket and just let Jordan Addison and Travis Dye just pick them apart. If Notre Dame can find a way to keep Caleb Williams off the field and control time of possession, I think they have a huge chance of going in there and upsetting, because I am not so on USC's defense. Their defense is absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it speaks volumes to see what Notre Dame's done really since that loss to Stanford. Obviously, that was their third loss on the season, so we all kind of knew that it was a lost cause for them. But since then, I mean, the most that they've allowed is 32 to Navy. Now, to be fair, from what I've heard, the offense was trying to switch things up. But as far as I remember, the offense isn't the one stopping the other team's offense. So I don't know what exactly to believe with Notre Dame, because obviously last week against Boston College, they dropped them 44-0. But to be fair, we all kind of knew BC wasn't going to be anything great. But when you're allowing a rushing team like Navy to come back after being up 35-10 to be within a field goal, it makes me wonder how much did Notre Dame let off the gas? Because every other game you look at, it seems like they didn't let off at all. But it seemed like, if you catch them in a lull to sleep game like Navy was, they can get right back into this. And I keep hearing that it's the Notre Dame run game and that they're going to run all over this USC defense. And I'm sitting here thinking USC's allowing only 17 more rushing yards per game than Notre Dame. So how exactly, I mean, is it really just going to be Notre Dame, time possession, run it out? Or kind of like with what you guys were saying, keeping it out of Caleb Williams' hands? Keeping Addison off the field, keeping Dodd off the field? Or is it going to be one of those, they're going to try to get cute, they're going to try to pass it, and they're going to shoot themselves in the foot again? I just don't know which way Notre Dame is going to go with this, because it's a Jekyll and Hyde situation. I feel like we've seen both sides, and I just don't know which way they're going to go. I really don't.
You never know. That's why they play the game.
And also, if you go back and look at the second game of the season, the game that I pretty much called, it was Stanford. They played Stanford. Stanford in the first half really did whatever they wanted to do. They had 2 forced fumbles on the goal line, basically, and they had a turnover on downs on the goal line. So that's what kept them from winning that football game. They almost lost to a bad Stafford team. So that's the first time I saw this USC defense and said to myself, this defense is not really good, because Stanford ran the football effectively. They was able to get down the field. They had 2 fumbles in the red zone, and they had a 4th down stoppage in the red zone as well. So that's what prepared USC to go over the top on Stanford and beat Stanford.
It doesn't even feel like a rivalry right now. Like, it doesn't even feel like a connected rivalry. It's probably just it's an internal rivalry. I think they try to put this one up there as one of the best rivalries in college football, but I think it's lost its luster, man. This is not your typical dad's USC team that runs the student body right, student body left, old school, Marcus Allen type of offense. Now they're just slinging the ball around the yard. A hitch is the run play. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just throw it to the outside and let the young guys get loose. And that's just not, that's passing league. So then you have Notre Dame not at the top of the rankings, but kind of trying to fight their way back. It just doesn't feel like USC at Notre Dame. I think next year will feel more like it. At Notre Dame, it just feels like the pageantry will be back. It's just this year, it's like, we'll see what happens. Hopefully next year, this rivalry will have its buzz that it used to have. I don't know. Maybe they should play a little bit earlier, make USC UCLA the last game like it was for a long time. But I think SC likes the idea of having Notre Dame as a number one rival. But at the same time, them going to the Big Ten, it's going to be some other matchups that we probably be more intrigued to watch. But, like I said, you never know till they kick it off. I started watch as an objective fan, not having a pick to side. Of course, I'm against USC, what I'm saying, being a Bruin myself. But, I always want to see a good game. And I'm always interested to see what their approach is going to be. I know what SC's going to do. What's Notre Dame going to do is what I want to see.
Yeah, definitely. And it really seems like everything kind of flipped as far as for Notre Dame after that week 2 loss to Marshall, handing the ball off to Drew Pine and telling him, hey, you get to lead this offense now. And, just kind of looking at some of his stats, his highest passing total has been 289, and the highest run total so far by a single individual has only been 130. So, I mean, it's not like they're going to completely blow you out of the water with any of these games or with their offense or anything like that. But I believe that you're absolutely right in that, it doesn't feel like the exact same rivalry, like say that we had back in the mid 2000s, the Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush days where Notre Dame finally broke out the green jerseys, and having to get the push from the back just to beat them. It just doesn't feel the same as that, but I could very well be wrong. So, I don't know. Hey, there he is. Martin, welcome back to the show, my friend. Been a little bit.
I mean, not to cut you off, but who I am looking at is the matchup between Benjamin Morrison and Jordan Addison. The freshman at ND, that dude is a dog. Straight dog. He got 5 picks. He's a freshman with Sauce Gardner type of swag at Notre Dame. And that's who I want to see is that matchup on the outside. Are they going to have him follow him around the field, or is he going to play boundary or field corner? Like I said, I like to watch that stuff when it happens and see what they're going to do. I love when they match up the number one corner versus the number one receiver and see what shakes out, who's the real big dog on the campus at these two locations. But again, I'm not coaching. I can only wish for what I wish for. What up, Big Martin Luther the King? The King.
What's going on, guys? How y'all feeling this morning? How was y'all Thanksgiving? Man.
Don't come on here asking about no Thanksgiving, bro.
how the Canes Thanksgiving is? How the Canes Thanksgiving?
How the King? Yeah, we want to know how your Thanksgiving went, King. The Miami Hurricane and the Canes.
I do not detour. I keep going straight. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's what it is, but they still my team. We got one game left today. Hopefully, we can get bowl qualifier because we got a lot of big things about to pop off for the U in the next few weeks or so doing recruiting. So I'm excited about it.
I challenge you this: change your name to Martin Luther the Cane. KN.
I like that.
CANE.
Martin Luther the Canes.
The Canes. Martin Luther
like
the Canes. The Cane.
I like that.
Hey,
I like that.
Just pay me my $5 fee.
Ooh,
my $5 fee. My $5 fee for creativity.
Coach Dante is my broker. You go to him and get that $5, baby.
Hey, you pay me in ones.
Oh, quarters
and dimes.
Ian, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. I don't know if I'm sipping the same Kool-Aid about the Miami Hurricanes as you over here, though.
They've been talking about trash for 12 years now,
but
man.
Hey, there's optimistic. There's hope. Yeah, we didn't have a good season, but when I tell you,
the recruits on the board.
There's some things going on behind the scenes, and it'll be revealed, soon. So I'm very, very, I'm very optimistic.
The Canes need a refund on some of them stars. The Rivals and Scout.com, 247 Sports, giving them 5 stars out to all them kids in Miami, and they're not the dudes that they recruited.
Nah, I think I know for one, they definitely looking towards the that running back that decommitted from Ohio State.
Mhm.
Yeah, he had a visit for Florida, but he also about to have a visit for Miami. So hopefully Miami could turn him. They also got a $5 million NIL deal budget for the transfer portal. So they about to hit the transfer portal real heavy. So there's some other things going on. So I don't want to talk.
Don't just brush over that. A $5 million NIL deal for transfer portal kids. Are you saying
Yeah,
without an actual sponsorship or a company, we got a budget to pay these kids to come
yeah,
to our school out the portal?
yeah.
Is that what college football has come to?
Consider it free agent money.
Yeah,
Free
it's
agent money.
yeah.
Wow.
That's what it has come to. So
And you're allowed seven portal kids, right? Per school.
yeah,
7.
yeah.
And you got $5 million to divvy up. This would be interesting. I'm pretty sure everybody's doing it too.
Martin got his stats behind him on TV.
Yeah, Ryan says that Martin's just stealing everything from a college game day in his ear back there.
Nah, Ryan, don't do me, Ryan.
That's why he late. Yeah, that's why he came on late. He was getting his stats ready from the
Nah,
show.
I've been on this for the last couple of days, because a couple of guys that I kind of like talk to and stuff. So I haven't just had a chance to do anything. I've been kind of like depressing a little bit, been just trying to relax through the holidays and stuff like that. So I had a lot of videos and stuff, and it's been this holiday season always a tough time for me, you know what I'm saying? So, but nevertheless, I'm here ready to rock and roll, and I'm ready for these rivalry games. I'm rooting for Michigan all day today. So
You want to mess up the world. You trying to mess up the world.
oh, definitely.
Shoot, I mean, if we want to mess up the world, I think LSU has to go beat Georgia here in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Then let's really mess up the
That
world.
mess up the world because Georgia's still in top 4 if they lose to LSU.
Oh yeah,
That's going to really make it go like that's going to be crazy.
Yep.
yeah.
I think out of everybody in the top 4, Georgia with a loss is the only team that's safe.
Yeah.
That's the only team that's safe to make it to the college football playoff. That's the only team.
Ain't that crazy? Because we see what we see. That's a daggone pro team over there, man.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, is there really any point in touching on Georgia Tech when Georgia's favored by 36 at home?
Dang.
Like
We're talking about player safety now. Is player safety is a concern?
You talking about a scrimmage? You talking about a scrimmage game, basically?
I mean,
JV varsity.
I mean, Georgia Tech, they need one win for bowl eligibility. Watch them break out of the triple option just to mess with Georgia one time.
Georgia Tech about to lose all their recruits on one game. They're gonna lose all the recruits gonna decommit. They're gonna be like, this is how it is on this level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm surprised North Carolina has lost 2 games back to back.
They are who we thought they were. They are who we thought they were. The basketball team.
They about to get slaughtered next week.
They got Mac Brown. I'll put it that way. But speaking about their counterparts here, another noon Eastern kickoff here. Clemson, again, they're kind of sitting in one of those prime seats, just kind of like USC is there at number 6. Obviously, both can still make some noise if they win their conference championships, only having one loss. But here comes South Carolina rolling in like they own the world at this point after dropping 63 on Hendon Hooker and the Tennessee Volunteers, which, to be fair, I was all about it. I wanted the chaos. I wanted to see somebody other than Alabama. But after doing what Spencer Rattler did, I think last week we saw the Spencer Rattler everybody expected to see a year and a half ago.
I ain't like Spencer Rattler since QB1 on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of hard to like. I like the Justin Fields character. Then the Spencer Rattler character came on the show, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm a root for this kid. And I see him out here doing big things for South Carolina. I'm like, Clemson hasn't looked great all year. I'm surprised they're still 10-1, and that's kind of why they're ranked so low. They've been squeaking by. DJ's my guy, but he's been struggling. He don't look like he's having no fun. But Clemson is primed for a loss. So they gave him 14 points. I don't know. Is that Clemson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
But
don't know, man. What y'all think, man?
I'm giving South Carolina a shot.
A puncher's
Yeah.
shot.
Huh?
A puncher's chance to knock them out.
Give them a shot in the arm, like going to the doctor, getting a vaccine shot. You know what I'm saying? So, give 'em
So they don't get, so they don't die if they can't. Yeah.
yeah, I'll give them a shot. I mean, if they could carry that momentum into, I mean, like you said, Clemson hasn't been playing well. They've been squeaking by. I mean, you can't knock them for that because they
win.
They win. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I had this conversation a couple of days ago at work. You know, we were talking about TCU, and it was like, well, TCU, you know, they've been winning close games. They just been getting by. I said, and Clemson been doing the same thing. I say, there's a lot of games Clemson should have lost. I said, but that's the thing when you're dealing with teams that's good. If you don't take the opportunity to knock them out the box and they win, you can't complain about it. It's just what it is, you know. So I feel like if South Carolina takes that momentum, I think because the quarterback situation with South Carolina is different from the past years. I'm optimistic of that. South Carolina has been playing well. They haven't played. You know, they played fairly well. Games that there were some games they could have won this year. You know what I'm saying? So who's to say? I mean, if they could get the main thing is that South Carolina could stop Shipley, that could help them a whole lot in this game. Shipley is the guy that gets Clemson rolling. Yeah, Clemson's defense is there, but the offense goes through Shipley. If Shipley gets rolling downhill like he usually do, it's going to be a long day for South Carolina.
We're not going to let you bow down or bow out without us talking about how Clemson beat Miami last week.
Man, why you?
What did Miami? Because I like the Miami Hurricanes, man. I'm a big time fan, but you the insider. What happened last week? 10-40?
Well, the game. I take.
You can't even explain it. But look at him. Look at the coach. Look at him, Ian.
Man, y'all, you got beat so bad you can't even explain it.
Like,
remember what happened?
We got boy flustered here on a Saturday morning.
He's like, next year we're gonna be better.
Here's the thing.
I keep to do me like this.
Hey, I keep saying every year that my team's going to be better next year, and we always end up with the number 3 in the loss column for some stupid reason. So
the 2 touchdowns that Clemson did score came at 4 minutes with the game left and 16 seconds. The rest of the game was 26-10. Now, my thing is this here, is that I feel like Josh Gaddis could have had a better game plan for them. You know what I'm saying? Pass the ball. You could have passed the ball on them. Clemson they 51 in the nation against the pass. You could have had a chance, but you didn't max coverage. So you know our offensive line hasn't been playing well this year. You know what I'm saying? So you could have helped you. In order for your quarterback to be productive, you got to help him out. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you know your offensive line is bad. That's where you could control the game a little bit, get some balance a little bit here and there. Clemson turned the ball over 5 times. We got 3 of them turnovers. Now, we know in the history of football, college or pro, if you turn the ball over at least 5 times, now they got some of them back, but you lost 3 of them, that's a recipe for disaster. If Miami had any offense, they could have made this game more respectable than they did, and they didn't. What's going on, Cole?
I don't mean to pile on your Hurricane, but they ain't have 100 yards of offense. They had 68 yards passing and 30 yards rushing.
No,
did y'all practice all week? Did y'all have practice at all?
The most yards came from Ja'Cory Brown when he ran for 47 yards.
And that got called back.
That was a first down. That ain't got called back.
Jake Garcia is negative 14 yards on his passing, getting sacked and knocked that back down.
But this is what I say. Because one of the girls that's she's on one of the NSC roundtable sports fidelity, we call it Rima. She's from Clemson. Me and her had this discussion. Well, she was on my show Tuesday, and we went over some facts the other day, and I just told her, I was like, even though we slow down Shipley, but Clemson still had over 200 yards rushing. And I say it's the coaching is the issue. The players is there. I felt like if Jake, yeah, I agree, cool. I feel like if TBD was there, the performance would have been a little bit better. I just don't think the coaches playing well. They haven't playing well in games that really matter or they could win. You know what I'm saying? So we could say, oh, it's the players, but it's the coaching, you know, the offensive coordinator and the defense coach. I'm telling you, have you ever seen y'all remember Dick LeBeau, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what when Dick LeBeau got, you know, where he couldn't coach, and everything else. That's how Kevin Steele looks in his press conference. He looks like, I don't know, he looks like a cartoon character that's like with them big old eyes, fish out of water, can't understand what's going on. And I'm sitting in here saying this dude needs to retire because he don't have a clue what a defensive scheme is. You have a good game against Georgia Tech, then you come back knowing that you got bowl implications. At least make the game respectable playing Clemson. Every time we played for the last 4 or 5 years we played Clemson, we got slaughtered. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
So this game could have been a little bit closer because Clemson didn't score number 26 points. Towards the end of the game, you allowed them to put 33, 40 points on the board. You know what I'm saying?
That's how you
and then the score indicated it looked bad. I took the Florida State game beat down worse than I took the Clemson game because there were some things that's left in the Clemson game that we could have probably did, but we didn't do it. You know, man. I just feel like the offensive coordinator position is very vital, and I take that serious. And I take, like, especially when you developing quarterbacks, you starting a true freshman. You know what I'm saying? If that was the case, why not roll with Jake? But you didn't roll with him because the fact of the matter, Jake is a turnover machine.
Yeah.
But to cool point, these are the players from last year, and they hard to coach because they don't listen, and that's why Mario is pretty much going to let a lot of them leave. You know, get rid of some of the bad seed and bring some players in that want to play football. So all we can say is, you know, we see what the telling tape is for next year. But this year, pretty much, if they don't win today, you know it's going to be a house cleaning in the off season. So
is this free portal jumping going to be forever? Or are they going to put a cap, or is this going to come to an end at some point? Because I'm not just Miami; it's just everywhere now.
Yeah.
Kids are just jumping in the portal because they had a bad year.
I
new?
don't know. I think they should put a limit on it. You know, where
2025 will be the end of it. Like it's
like
to an end. It's crazy, man.
Say you have to play 2 or 3 years for your school. And then if it doesn't work out, then you could transfer out.
Your graduate transfer. I like graduate transfer.
I agree with that. They should put, because these kids, I mean, in the middle of the season, you saw people just jumping out, say, well, I'm transferring.
Hey, let them jump because they need to go.
Golly, I forgot.
For Miami, we don't have, I think 5 or 6 done left, but they was non-factors. There was non-factors for Miami, so they never hardly ever saw on the field anyway. So it really, that part don't bother me. I want us to get better on the offense and defensive line. I said this on my Washington show. If you don't build the trenches, you don't get to be successful. There's too many teams in this league, in this college football that build from the trenches and they have success.
The saying is Martin Luther King. No line, no shine. I think Ian said it last week. No line, no shine.
I like that. I'm about to put on that.
Hey, y'all were that bad. Y'all were that bad on offense. Golly, y'all that bad on.
That's bad, bro. I could have got 50 yards rushing.
For real? Golly, y'all forgot to show up.
End around, some Z fly motions, something. Get the ball outside the inside with the trenches.
Man, when I tell you, I sat here and watched this game. I wanted to go purchase a bottle and kill the game.
Hey, we need it.
Hey,
Somebody need to tell Freddie when he had an idea for a show. Just put a camera on Martin during the Hurricane game, and just watch him start getting drunk. Watch him drink the whole show. Start getting madder. Start off hyped up, and by the fourth quarter, he made the fight.
I feel like we
get-
need to make this a live stream starting next season. Just tune
you
in
know
with
what?
Martin with
We play at
Miami.
8
AC, we got you with
We
UCLA. Dante, we got you with your squad. Me, I got
Texas,
Air Force.
yep.
Go ahead,
Oh.
drink during the government playing for the game. All right,
Hey,
I don't
we
care.
can
we can make it a special live stream at 8 o'clock tonight, and I'll sit right here with a bottle. And every time something go wrong, I'll take a shot.
He could be hammered by the second quarter.
I'll be like this. Take my pain away,
Yeah.
please.
That FCS loss, but
Them boys broke week 3.
I think we'll let Martin breathe a little bit. How about that? But,
Yeah, let's move on, man. Them Hurricanes got some problems. We know this.
yes,
Yeah.
they do. But
And how do you have problems in Miami, bro? All the beautiful women out there, man. Come on,
That's
man.
because they paying too much
That's-
attention to the women
that's
and not to
not
the
a
football field.
That's a football problem. That's not a personal problem. Because look at here. I will fly down here right now and take them problems.
That's
Yeah.
the problem, brother.
Man,
That's
Middle
way-
Tennessee State did y'all like that? Golly, bro, that's damn.
This has become the Martin
The-
Clowning Show here on
Miami
the Sports
Hurricanes.
Empire Network.
Why?
Is that them Canes? They got a book called Swagger. This team ain't included. This team is left out, is omitted.
Yeah,
It's a couple chapters missing.
that's
Yes.
funny. He said, "I'm gonna get alcohol poison."
It all depends on how many handles of Hennessy you got hiding in the back, sir. That's all I got
Yeah.
to say about that. Hey now. But kind of turning our attentions back to the Pac-12 here for a little bit. We're finally getting what may actually be a decent Civil War game with Oregon, and I don't know how to explain Oregon State. I don't know how to explain their success this year, but they're sitting at number 21. They're looking pretty good themselves. Granted, they don't have a shot of making the Pac-12 title game, but they can certainly stop Oregon in their trail as well. So, I mean, Oregon, from what I'm seeing, they're only favored by 2.5, and that's on the road game. And they're supposed to be this almighty team, even with Bo Nix doing as well as he has been doing. You know, is that just Corvallis, or is I just feel like I'm missing something with Oregon State, and I'm not seeing it.
It's a
Are
good team.
any of y'all
man.
seeing it?
It's a good team. They ain't lost since the 12th of November to a good Washington team by 3 points. It's a good Oregon State team, especially in Corvallis, man. So this is an actual good rivalry game, and I know every year these two play again, throw the records out the window. It's just two teams right down the street from each other with big time Nike deals. Sweet uniforms that go around, and kids going, getting recruited because of nice uniforms that Phil Knight blessed them with, and them shopping sprees to Nike and NIL deals to the Nike factory store and all this other stuff going on. It's a lot. Great facilities, 2 good programs. Oregon's had the benefit of the doubt coming to the inner city, grabbing the hood kids. But Oregon State has followed suit and done just as well recruiting in the hood and getting them skill guys. And they don't have no problem getting the bigs. So it's a good team. I think they're slept on because Oregon's the big draw. They played Georgia, but they got smashed. But they still played Georgia. And they are recently, in the BCS when Chip Kelly was there. It's not recently anymore, but it was, at least you remember they were at one point prominent team in the country. But this little local rivalry they have, I think is always a good game, and I love to see what uniforms they're gonna pull out. Both teams have nice uniforms to share around, but again, I think Oregon's just slept on. But you had those 3 early losses, and it's hard to get that notoriety when you have 3 L's on your record. But Oregon's not all that great. They got 2 and 1 at home, so it's gonna be a very, very tough game. And it's not going to be no blowout. I think they're correct with it being -2.5 favoring Oregon. I might even put $2 on Oregon State to cover that and give me that dub.
I like Oregon. Always been a fan of them for years. I've been a fan of Oregon. I feel like they have changed their season around since the Georgia game. And they always for probably one of the few teams in college football that will travel to play tough games in the beginning of the season or week 2, 3, or whatever the case might be. So, I mean, I know Oregon State could be tough because there's a rivalry game, but I still will take Oregon. I'll take them by 10 in this game.
$2 bet. $2 bet.
Man, all I say, I 1,000% agree with AC, man. Oregon State is a good football team, man. They should have beat USC. They should have beat USC. USC only scored 13 points versus Oregon State. That defense is legit down there in Oregon State. I got Oregon State with the upset. I think they can quiet down, that Oregon offense. I mean, if you look, they should have lost to Utah before Cameron Rising decided to take a night off and throw 3 interceptions, which really cost them the ball game. And Utah defense did flat out great. It just Cameron Rising wasn't good in that game. They should have lost to Washington State, to Bo Nix. Shows you how good Bo Nix been playing this year. Bo Nix kind of bailed them out. This is another team that's not really good on defense, but Oregon State, I mean, again, they have a good, solid football team. And that's led by their defense. Their defense is top 15 in the country, man. Their defense is really, really legit. They can get after the quarterback. They can also stop the run. And I think Bo Nix tonight in Oregon State is going to have a tough time. And I got Oregon State winning this football game.
So Bo Nix is playing for a seat in New York, basically.
Yep.
He don't play well. No Heisman seat in New York.
Yeah, I was gonna save the Heisman talk for later, but since you brought it up here, I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people's favorite went down in Hendon Hooker at Tennessee, went down with the ACL tear. It's really unfortunate because there was still today's game just to kind of help cement it, but one, does Hendon Hooker still get an invite to New York? And 2, who really should be in those 3 chairs when we get to it here mid-December?
Is it 3 or 4?
I think it depends. Usually they go top 3. I've seen as many as 5, but usually they reserve it for 3. Maybe 4 if they're deserving.
I believe CJ is playing for a seat today.
Yep.
Caleb is already there if he plays decent,
Okay.
I believe. I got a running back in mind.
I'm thinking that Chase Brown kid out of Illinois.
Chase Brown.
If he's gonna go off again today, he's at almost 1,600 yards.
Nobody's seen him play.
That's the thing. Nobody's seen him play. Illinois. He helped Illinois get out to that hot start.
I seen him play against Indiana and Wyoming. He destroyed both of those teams, and he destroyed Michigan down the stretch last weekend.
Yeah. But is he not playing on the West Coast? He's playing where he in the region that he plays in, and they have not been hyping him up enough. I think it's not fair to him, but his yards speak for themselves. And the Big Ten is never easy to run in. So I think it's legitimate, man. I think Corn would have been there, but he's hurt.
Yep.
So.
And then maybe Nix.
They would still invite Hooker just for novelty's sake. Like, he earned that seat, even though these last couple games would have really helped him.
Yep.
And then is Bryce Young still in the conversation?
Bryce Young, I think he is. I haven't heard anything that he's not, or whatever the case may be. I think he's still in there.
Isn't it Alabama versus Auburn today? Was that the Civil War?
The Iron Bowl.
The Iron Bowl.
That Iron Bowl, and
ain't the same.
I mean, it's not the same, but Auburn has liked to be Alabama's kryptonite. And Auburn, with a win, they get bowl eligibility. And all this is right before, if rumors are true, Lane Kiffin decides to show up and take over the Auburn program.
Well, with Ole Miss losing yesterday, I can see that happening.
Yeah, Yeah, he's kept his mouth shut saying, "Oh yeah, I'd love to be back," but yet everything points to him going to Auburn. So
I mean, I think after the loss to I think after the loss to embarrassing defeat to Arkansas, I think that set it over the edge right there. After that beat down that he
Mhm.
took in Arkansas, it showed you everything, every sign you need to know. I think that pushed it over the edge right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because people kept saying that. Well, Lane said no, he was. I was like, you can't trust nothing Lane said when
You
it
sure
comes to
can.
when it comes switching jobs. So
Mhm.
I mean, any opportunity that he could get to, especially he go to an Auburn program, build it up. Then you have Alabama have to continue to face LSU and Auburn. But the thing about it is, Lane has to get over that hump to beat Alabama, and no matter where he went to Tennessee, Ole Miss, he hasn't really had that chance to be. And he has some good Ole Miss teams that could beat Alabama, like this year. He had the game in the bag.
Well, you said it earlier. It's a budget now. You have a budget to get kids, and Auburn's pockets, we know they deep when they got
Mm-hmm.
Cam Newton and them boys, and that D line they had that year. So I know that Auburn will dig deep and get some boys out that portal. If it costs $5 million, $10 million, they want to get back in the mix. It's a real easy way to get back in the mix. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Texas A&M might have messed it up for everybody because they spend more money for their kids and they stunk it up this year.
Oh yeah.
So it ain't no guarantee that these 5-star kids gonna come in here and change the program. It will take Lane Kiffin's, offensive genius to turn things around. Gus Malzahn them couldn't even do it, or whoever else was there. But it's gonna take a lot, man. And Ole Miss, I believe they had a wealth of resources to get kids.
Yeah.
Nice new uniforms. You still have to deal with that fact that it's Ole Miss. A lot of kids ain't trying to go to Ole Miss
Yeah.
from the West Coast, at least, from the
Mhm.
North, at least. But at least Auburn, you kind of get that stigma off of what Ole Miss used to represent. And you kind of just get Auburn Tigers. You just think football. You think Bo Jackson. You think Cam Newton. It's a little bit easier to recruit at Auburn than it is at Ole Miss. So
Yeah.
I think that'll help Lane Kiffin's, Hollywood, man. Good looking young guy. Go in there. Single
Yeah.
mamas think he's handsome or whatever. He'll do good down at Auburn and he'll get the
Yeah.
team rolling again. But, Auburn being 5-6, this game kind of like goes,
Well,
Yeah. Yeah,
Lane Kiffin,
honestly, it should collapse, but it's Auburn, Alabama, and it doesn't matter. Shoot, the only game that I think of is the kick six.
Hmm.
It takes it takes what, 5 seconds, and it could go completely the other way in this game.
yeah.
So,
I'll tune in for a second. I'll tune in for a little bit.
yeah. And plus, the way
Lane
go ahead,
Kiffin,
Martin.
Lane Kiffin, the supermodel of college football.
Supermodel. Yeah.
With,
Okay,
with
okay
good
to
looks
look
and
at, but the date is
everything.
terrible. Yeah. Okay to look at, take him on a date is terrible.
Yeah.
He looking at himself the whole time on his
Terrible.
phone.
Too terrible. Like
Hey,
Sean
all I
Button.
gotta say is he's gonna look a lot better if he does take that Auburn job and starts taking these recruits away from Alabama, and we finally see the evil empire on the downside.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say about
Yeah,
that.
you will see Lane Kiffin sparking, and you see Nick Saban just we need more money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
Cool makes a good point. It's not just Auburn. I mean, Texas and Oklahoma, they're coming too.
Yeah, they are.
So,
That's that oil money.
yep, that oil money looks dang good, unless you're Jimbo Fisher, because right now they're getting buyer's remorse, as
Yeah.
our man Cool likes to say.
Now the question is, do you give back the NIL deal if you jump in the portal?
Yeah.
I don't know about that much.
All
I
them
don't know.
kids got paid $1 million each, and they in the portal.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously, I've always thought it was weird, especially with the college football rankings, just kind of the way that they are. I understand that Hendon Hooker's injured, but how in the world do you have Tennessee below LSU and below Alabama when Tennessee beat them both?
Optics, man, they don't look good right now. They
Yeah.
lost bad They lost bad.
Oh yeah, I agree, but at the
mean-
same time, you can't be sitting here and saying that Bama's better when Tennessee got them. You got
You did, but I think
by this bad team.
they gave up 63
They gave up 63 to a bad
Yeah,
South
yeah,
Carolina, not so good
all
South
right.
Carolina team. They got beat down. The game wasn't even close.
So that's a bad time to lose like that.
Yep.
It's just bad timing,
Nowhere where you can recover after losing like that. Nowhere where
Yeah.
you should be up in the top 5 or the top 7 getting beat like that.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, Ian, but 63 to
Yeah, I know, but maybe it's just because I want to see Bama on a bigger slide. But that's asking too much.
well, you imagine Bama gets everybody's best punch.
Oh yeah, and that's why I give Auburn a chance today.
Yeah,
I really do. Like, records be damned here. It's Auburn, Alabama. Something weird is gonna happen, and here comes Auburn screwing up Bama even more. It's gonna be a great time for everybody. Now, granted, that's me in fantasy land. Me waking up, Alabama's gonna roll them, but anything's possible.
Bryce
but
Young gonna throw for 300.
Price for 300.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But I mean, I don't. I mean, again, we were saying that one's not really a rivalry game. I really don't know how TCU Iowa State is either. I don't understand the significance of it, but I feel like TCU, they've probably got the clearest way to the college football playoff. Just win this week and win next week or the conference championship week, and nobody can deny you at this point.
Is there any scenario if TCU wins but doesn't win convincingly? If they win, they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a Big 12 championship game?
There is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
they're gonna play the winner. If Kansas State wins today, they play Kansas State. If Kansas State loses, then they will play my Longhorns. They will see my Longhorns next in the Big 12 title game.
But that's
Texas won yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Texas won yesterday, so it will come down to K-State versus Kansas, and Kansas, unfortunately, they've been on the slide too. So I don't know. You might need to go get a Lance Leopold and tell him, hey, do everything you got to do just to help your boys out there. So,
man, if you saw the end of the game last week and how they should have lost, I don't know what to expect, because I ain't never seen a team trying to win the game, down the ball, spike it, and then run the ball the next play. And then run your field goal team out there to kick a field goal as time is expiring. And the head coach's explanation is, we practice this every day. I don't know a coach in America that plays out that scenario that way. You run the football and then you clock it. This fool clocks it and then runs it. And then he runs in the middle of the field. He ran to the hash. I'm like, what in the world? I was half asleep watching it. Like, what in the world am I looking at? And they line that thing up. I said, anything can happen on this snap. Anybody moves, game over. Bad snap, game over. Like, you kick the ball on third down. Matter of fact, just in case something go wrong. And then if you muff it or whatever, it's still fourth down. But they played it out. It worked out. They're still top 4. I still believe they need to play. I think it really could come down to the computer. Sometimes they give an undefeated team a little black eye because of how they won. I don't think it'll happen this year, but just the way that they almost lost last week, that was really, really, really revealing.
They should have lost most definitely last week. They gave up 500 total yards of offense, man. Baylor lit them up last week. The run game, they gave up 232 rushing yards last week. So they did everything and they power to lose that game. And then on the third down, but TCU automatically knows you running the football, but that was a great play on third down, but the quarterback missed a tight end wide open for the first one. He's wide. You talking about butt naked, wide open, and he didn't see him. He ran the ball, then he protected the ball, and Max Duggan just did a great job going down there taking it. But that scenario where Big A said, I couldn't understand that. You run the ball, you spike it, but then you run it again and you put it at the right hash, and you had to put your field goal tee on the tee.
I ain't no kicker, but if I'm right footed, that's a harder kick. because you can easily pull that thing. So I'm like, hey, maybe he knows something I don't know. But then we're gonna label this team. It's the team of destiny. When things like that happen, it's a destiny. It's destiny for this team to make it. It's TCU's year. Does TCU really have a chance in the BCS? That's what my question would be.
That's a tough one. I mean, they've been escaping. I guess escaping by the hair of their chin.
The chin.
So I mean, yeah.
I got you on that one.
Appreciate that, Ian. I think that, I mean, anything is possible. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It depends on how it all shakes out after this week and next week. Yeah, I could probably say what the matchup. If they stay at 4 and match them up with Georgia, no, it is not going to be a close game. It's going to be it's going to be like the Cincinnati when they play Alabama. It's going to be bad. If they move, because the winner out of Ohio State, Michigan, that team falls, then that should allow TCU to move up a spot to avoid that first round exit, playing somebody like a powerhouse Georgia. I'll say if they play Michigan, that will be a very good, interesting game because they both play a little bit similar. They run the ball. They're very run heavy, dominant. I mean, that could be a potential. I
think TCU will win that game against Michigan. If Michigan was to win, I think TCU will beat Michigan.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I can see that happening. So if that was the case, I would give TCU a shot in the playoffs. But if they keep them at 4, just to to mess with them, and knowing that, hey, they should have already moved up a spot, then it's not going to look good playing Georgia the first game. That's a 50-point game.
Hey, Ian, is it 6 teams getting in?
4.
It's still 4.
But the 6 is the number where you want to be considered.
The New Year's 6 is so you want to be in the top 10 to make one of the bigger bowl games, like your Peach Bowls, your Cotton Bowls, and
Fiesta Bowls and all
BCS
Sugar Bowls. Yeah.
And have it confirmed next year they're going to 8, or it's still up in the air?
So it's still up in the air about expanding to 12 teams, potentially as early as 2024. Yeah. But no matter what, we will see it by 2026. Personally, I was hoping to get it sooner than that.
Yeah.
Because not going to lie, I would love to see Tulane do something just to mess with everybody else's day. Yeah. Or give me a Coastal Carolina who's sitting at 9-1 right now, but yet they still don't even get a number in front of them. So it's like, something's got to give.
It's football, not basketball. I don't know if the Mid-Americans can really play 3 games. Like they might be one good one, maybe them old Boise State games where they had that Statue of Liberty play and they sneak one out. But now we're seeing Boise State belongs where they are. Over the long haul, it comes down to them bigs, the big uglies in the middle. And if you ain't got two repetitions or 2 rotations of them guys, there's no way you can play a 3-game tournament with a depleted line. And again, you going against Georgia, you're gonna come out of there with some injuries. Some guys gonna get they cat peeled and they're gonna be tapping out. And that's what this is. It's big boy ball. And that's what it comes down to when you see the Coastal Carolinas and the Cincinnati's play against the Bamas and Georgias. It ain't about the skills, it's about them bigs. And I just know it's a lot. I mean, 12-team series, a 12-team tournament sounds great. But again, basketball, it can happen because ain't nobody getting manhandled. It's just different in them trenches, boy. Them boys down there, them boys ugly and mean down there, boy. They put their mitts on you and they get you like this and they'll put you on the bench, bro. I've been there. It ain't nothing nice down in the trenches in the SEC.
I was about to say, you as a receiver, what the heck were you doing in the trenches down playing them SEC?
They moved me to the Rover. And we played against Tennessee in Knoxville. And they went 3 tight ends because our base defense had 5 DBs because we didn't have no D line. So we went 3. We went 3-3-5, and I'm in the box because they had 3 tight ends. I tell you, man, now they had like 3 dudes, 6'6", 250, 260, and 270 coming at you, and they can run. What we supposed to do? And them dudes was just putting hands on us, man. We was playing finesse. They play Smash Mouth. And then the next week we played Michigan. They went 3 tight ends. And I'm getting hands put on me again. I'm running around blocks, trying to avoid blocks. And these jokers just putting their hands on you and driving you around. And I was like, this is disrespectful. And that's it for and this just 2-game stretch. Just imagine if you had to do it for a tournament and it's for all the marbles. So it's like these young boys are grown men at that age, man. So it's tough.
Yeah, especially going through a 12-game gauntlet, being chosen, and then not being one of the top 4 that get a bye. It's a little bit of chaos for sure there. So, but yeah, no, the 12, we're waiting a little bit on that. But I know I saw a thing the other day saying that Saban was all against it, and then magically they fell to like number 9 or whatever. They're like, yeah, a 12-team expansion would be great right now. And I'm like, Saban, stop it. You cannot be flipping just because you losing like this.
That's what they do. They moved the goalpost.
They did something.
They lower the rim, whatever it takes to get themselves in the mix.
Absolutely. So, but I mean, if we want to talk a little more chaos, the Big Ten, they've got a little bit of a interesting track to see who faces Michigan, Ohio State's winner, because Iowa, all they really needed to do was win. They did not do that. So Iowa, you're out of here. So now we're down to Purdue and Illinois, where Purdue, they just need to win and they're in. That's all they need.
So that means what Ohio State have to lose for them to or Michigan has to lose?
No, so the loser of Michigan and Ohio State, they're out of the Big Ten championship game.
So Big Ten is South versus North? Is South versus North?
East-West.
East-West. So Penn State's out.
Yes.
At 9-2. That only sound fair.
Right? And at number 11, and they say, no, we done with you.
They might need to go with what the Pac-12 is doing, top 2 teams.
Yeah. And I mean, the SEC, they're getting ready to do that as well. They're getting ready to be just done with divisions as well. But yeah, no, Purdue, they're in a winning in, and they're taking on Indiana. And Illinois, if Purdue loses to Indiana, Illinois, as long as they can handle a 1-10 Northwestern, they'll be going on to play
1-10.
the winner of Michigan, Ohio State in Indianapolis. So
1-10.
Yes.
Scott Frost. I feel bad for Scott Frost. The only win come against Scott Frost in Nebraska. Oh, Jesus, man. Damn.
Yeah,
it will be rolling. There's gonna be some fired coaches on Monday.
Yeah, and speaking of Nebraska, they are getting so much closer to hiring former Baylor head coach Matt Rule to come in and take over the Nebraska program.
Good luck.
Yeah, I would say he's got a bit of a rebuild, but we all saw what he was able to do at Baylor. So once he gets his boys in, and if that offense is still as good as it is, Nebraska might get to 6-6.
Yeah,
the first couple of years.
I think Nebraska's problem over the years, they're trying to be like modernized. What's Nebraska? Wishbone, smash mouth, downhill. You've seen their field, it's on a dome. So you're running downhill when you run off outside runs, and they out here trying to throw the ball. And the receivers running dig routes uphill. So do what you do. The field was built for you to run the ball downhill. If you ever watch Nebraska play at home and you see the sun glistening off the turf, and you see the little smoke from the dew in the early games, it's downhill. You can't even see the sideline. I'm like, we played in Nebraska. I'm like, wait a minute, man. This field is not even level. It's like a warped pool table. And I'm like, and they're gonna run straight dive, RPO downhill, and the pulling guards coming. You better cut them because they coming to knock you out. Yeah, I'm kind of like, that's Nebraska football. That's smash mouth you, but what they've been doing lately, trying to throw the ball like everybody else. I was like, nah, man, do what you do. What can you recruit? Big, ugly, mean dudes down in the middle. Them big, ugly dudes in the trenches. But you out here trying to recruit 5-star receivers. That's not Nebraska football, man. Get back to do what you do. Get big and ugly in there, man. Dudes with steroids and bloody noses, and that's Nebraska football. The corn huskers.
The men of corn.
The corn huskers. What is a corn husker?
a man that husks his corn because there's absolutely nothing else to do in Nebraska outside of Lincoln and Omaha.
Right.
But we
Hey,
already knew that.
They
Shoot,
got
they were
truth there.
saying the population of Nebraska doubles on Husker game days. So,
What?
yeah. Yeah, an extra 100,000 people show up, and all of a sudden the census just goes up in Nebraska. It's weird how it works like that.
What's really weird is how close the stands are to the bench. I
Yes.
kid you not, they could touch you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, this dude telling me, man, you ain't getting no playing time. I'm looked over my shoulder. He right in my ear, man. You ain't got in the game yet. You gonna play? you gonna play today? I say. And then when I just turned the DB, I had just moved from receiver to DB, so I had an 80 number, and I'm backpedaling in warm ups. And dude was like, "Hey, bro, why you wearing number 83 on defense?" I said, "I just switched the other day." I said, "I could tell you look real raggedy playing DB with number 83."
I was just gonna say you run that Iron Man. That's all I would have said, but
Yeah.
No, it means I was in the doghouse at receiver, and I had to move to DB if I wanted to play. That's what that was about.
yeah. But couple more clinching scenarios here. Going back to the Pac-12, Oregon, they've got the cleanest way. They win, they're in to play USC. Washington, they had a shot.
Had a shot.
They
Mhm.
had a shot. But with UCLA beating California, I believe Washington's been eliminated. Unless Oregon loses and Utah loses. But let's be honest, Utah is not going to lose to Colorado today.
No.
That is not going to happen.
Colorado
Nah.
about as bad as Nebraska. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a scrimmage game, basically.
JV.
Yep. Now, Utah, they've got the weirdest scenario as far as the Pac-12 goes. Obviously, the win, that's no issue. They need losses by California, which has already happened,
Already happened.
by Washington State, who plays Washington later, which, to be fair, that's
Could.
probably going to happen too.
Mhm.
And Dante, I know you said it earlier that you're pulling for this one. If Oregon loses to Oregon State as well,
Dang, that's a
Yeah.
lot. I
they
hate when
need
someone else
they need help.
I hate when you need help. I like to control my own destiny. I hate when I have to
Yeah.
watch the scores.
I believe Washington State. It's a chance that they can beat Washington because Washington did not look good against Oregon State. They looked pretty awful. Michael Penix looked pretty bad against Oregon State, and it's times that Washington offense struggled this season. So I would give Washington State a chance, and they also played Oregon pretty tough and hard. So I give Washington State a chance. Not saying they'll win it, but I give them a puncher's chance in Washington State. And I don't feel I give them a puncher's chance.
And nighttime at the end of November is going to be pretty chilly. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
ball,
they're saying it's going to be about 30 degrees at kickoff,
that ball
but
gonna
no
be
snow.
That ball gonna be an ice cube.
Yeah, I know how it feels up there. Been up there for 3 years in the state of Washington.
Cal, you was out there, Cal tipping Martin. You was out there at night, Cal tipping, and
Now that's in Eastern Washington. I was in Everett, Seattle area.
oh, okay. I'm about to say you out there in Wazoo land. We would ditch a bed check and sneak out the hotel and go cow tipping. Be scared to death. Running back.
No cow tipping for me.
Cow tipping.
Yeah,
That's cruel.
yeah, no, I'm straight on that one. So
It takes some speed. What's your speed look like, Ian? What's your 40 time, brother?
in high school it was a 4.39. Now
Hey.
I'm lucky to break a 5.5.
4.39. Boy, you supposed to be playing on Sunday. You're supposed to be in the NFL with that time.
Well, when you have a motorcycle accident and you burn all the nerve endings and muscle in your right calf
Gotta do it.
because the motorcycle landed on your leg and it started shredding it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
4-3 days are over.
yeah. You say goodbye to the NFL very quickly.
Yeah.
So
You start looking at your microphone and get your podcast going. There ain't no more
Yep.
4-3s for you.
Right.
shoot, actually, later today, I'm helping out with another high school playoff game, and then I'm getting ready to go do a play-by-play for a D2 basketball. So
There you go.
I'm sticking around in the sports world as best I can.
There you
So
go. There you go.
Martin, is it any way that a Miami Hurricane is playing on Sundays? in the NFL
From this team?
from Miami, yeah. But on Sundays.
Current player.
Current player. They playing on Sundays?
From this team that's playing right now.
No, not this team. Nah, hell no. I mean, someone will probably make it. But nah, hell to the nah, man.
They're not recruiting pros, they're recruiting stars.
Let me switch glasses on this one.
Oh no.
Oh no.
You're
scientific up in here now.
Sanford son on this bad boy.
Dante, I love you like a brother, bro, but no. No.
Now I'm looking for a future Kane to come on them damn things.
It won't be surprising, but I don't see it. I don't see it.
Fred Sanford, them the kind of glasses you got in the drawer, man.
Hey, no, these is really my everyday glasses. These is my
hurricane. These my hurricane critique glasses.
Yeah, I gotta see way close up. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the best eyesight, guys. Just to be honest.
That's called the sports science glasses. Going into all the analytics.
Yeah, you know what? They can do a sports science project on me on eyesight. You know, when he switches his glasses, his eye projected super 40. You know, 2020. You know, but nah, I don't know.
That's a long time ago with 2001 Hurricanes had 15, 20 NFL guys.
The guys from last year, some of the guys last year made it to the NFL, you know what I'm saying?
Somebody gonna make it. Somebody will make it from the team because it's DBs and linebackers and D linemen. Somebody gonna make a team.
Yeah.
You know we got one of them. You know my Texans got one of them, which is Brevin Jordan. We got one of them, so
you got one. No, you
we ain't even talk Bijan Robinson, but
funny as it may sound, every year we have a hurricane that does go to the NFL. I mean,
every year.
Yeah.
So this year was the year you might not get one.
Yeah. Hey, as somebody from Miami go to the NFL this year, that's gonna be newsflash shocker. I'm gonna have somebody skywrite that in the sky.
Cool said this is historically bad.
Yeah.
Shoot, if another one comes, he might get another handle of Henny ready if that happens.
Another handle.
Now, if Miami had a real good successful season and Tyler Van Dyke was playing well, you know what I'm saying, under Gaddis, then I would say Tyler Van Dyke would have been that guy, you know what I'm saying? Because going into the season, they was already talking Heisman with him and everything. He was, but change. Now, if Rick Lashley was the offensive coordinator there, I think he probably would have had that shot. But I believe Tyler's coming back next year to right the wrong. Plus, he got injured, so maybe I don't know if he's starting today to play against Pitt. So I don't know. They keeping a lot of things on the wraps right now. So with the quarterback position, so we have to see. But very interesting detail I was looking at last night. You play DB AC in the NFL, and I'm a fan of safeties and cornerbacks and wide receivers and quarterbacks and stuff like that. I was looking at the Sean Taylor documentary for A Football Life. Man, it was pretty interesting, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm a huge fan of Sean Taylor, huge fan, him and Santana Moss. And I was looking at the 3 years that he played in the NFL. This dude had 12 interceptions, 8 forced fumbles, 3 returned for a touchdown. And I was like, in 5 years, if he didn't get killed, in 5 years, this dude would already have written a Hall of Fame resume in that span. He already had Hall of Fame potential. He would have been just imagine his motor. It was crazy because I seen him, not seeing him live in games, but I seen him play for Miami and I seen him play for the Redskins. Dude was so dangerous, but his outside life was really complicated. And that was really, really, really sad. And then he never got the chance to move his fiance and his kid to Virginia because that's when they was planning on relocating at the time they broke into his house.
Yeah.
And I knew, and I can tell you just where I was the time it happened. I had went to the mountains in Tennessee with a ex of mine. My brother-in-law called me. He said, "Did you see the news?" I said, "No." He said, "Sean Taylor got shot." I said, "No." I turned on the TV. Dude, I was sick the whole way coming back. I was just distraught. And I was like, no, this cannot be happening. And it's just like, so now, tomorrow's going to be one of the, memorials, statue revealing for him and everything like that. But this dude had Hall of Fame written all over him.
Hey, man, Sean Taylor, his loss was like Len Bias, Hank Gathers, like just generational talent. He would have been in the same conversation as Lawrence Taylor as best defensive player of all time. He was that good. And it broke my heart. And I work with the youth at my church, and I was talking to them about Takeoff getting killed, and how being at the wrong place at the wrong time is and decision making. Sean Taylor was trying to get out of that situation, that connection to the hood. And my buddy Earl Little, or my roommate when I played for the Saints, was from Miami, and he was telling me how it's still the bottom. Saying there's still some cats, like it's really hungry dudes out there. And if you're not careful in that jealousy that still causes the types of things that happen, like they killed this man like execution style, like they made sure he bled out. And I was just like, man, what kind of dudes are you dealing with that knew that if you shoot a cat in his femur, he'll bleed out? And I was kind of like, man, who are you dealing with? If it sounded like what Aaron Hernandez and them were doing, like they were really living that life they see in the movies. And because my buddy Earl's friend Marlon Barnes, his best friend, got killed on campus in Miami, and he was going to the NFL as well. So I just know these tragedies, man. You never know. What if Sean Taylor, bro? I mean, I never seen, like, it's hard for me to put somebody in a GOAT conversation when it's too soon. But even Ronnie Lott and them dudes is like, this dude might be the best safety I've ever seen. He's Lawrence Taylor backpedaling, like he's that dude, and he was blowing dudes up in all-star games, and he probably couldn't play today because everything he does will be
targeting.
Too hard. He's hitting too hard. We can't even say targeting. He was using sort of
targeting.
He was like, unnecessary roughness. It was a routine tackle. He's being too rough. 15 yards.
Yeah, he played in this era right here, boy. He probably got ejected about 80 times.
He can't play today. I mean, but he was that. I think he would adjust. He was that athletic. Because what was he? 6'3", 235?
Yeah, he looked
close to it. Yeah,
run a 4'3",
6'5".
I think so.
Yeah, man, that dude was scary, man.
He played safety coming out. They switched him. Joe Gibbs switched him to free safety, and Ryan Clark said we would thought he would have had trouble. They said this dude. He was on one side of the field. Ben Roethlisberger threw on the other side. Ryan Clark said, all I saw was Sean Taylor was already over there, breaking up the pass or intercepting the pass. I was like, and I've literally seen it. I was like, this dude is, when they had him and LaRon Taylor back there, LaRon Landry, I was like, that was the best safety dude in the game. I seen Sean Taylor blew up a running back when the running back caught it in the flat and came through the middle. Sean Taylor hit him so hard the ball popped out. The dude was still laying on the ground. I was like, this is how you hit. So, and his brother's nice too. His younger brother down at Rice, he's so nice. He's nice. So, but yeah, that was.
Y'all bring up Big AC say you bring up Len Bias. You talking about a good dude that would have went toe to toe with Michael Jordan. Went toe to toe, Pop's better than Michael Jordan. That was a sad story too. And then he was already on the Celtics too. Yeah, with Larry Bird, them. Oh my God, that would have been a tragedy in the NBA. A lot of people didn't. That's not what a lot of people wanted to see. Len Bias and Larry Bird. Oh my God.
Yeah. I actually 2 weeks ago I just saw on a documentary of all of them because Muggsy Bowles, I think Reggie Lewis, all of them played together in high school or something. Yep. And Reggie Lewis was nice too. That was my boy when he went to the Celtics. I love this son Reggie Lewis, but he had that heart issue, man. It's tragic, man. It's just so tragic, you know.
It really is. And I mean, crazy to think about. Tomorrow is the 15 year for Mr. Taylor. And I actually remember getting the last of his jerseys that they were selling before they only did the memorial patches.
Mm-hmm.
They had one of the away Sean Taylor jerseys left, and like, because I collect jerseys for a living.
Yeah.
Outside of this, like, I have a 77 Deacon Jones, I have an 84 Dickerson, a 92 Cunningham, like, you name it, I've probably got it. And that one was probably the hardest one for me to find. And when I found it, the guy literally gave it to me and said, "Here, take it." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" And he's like,
Yeah.
You would actually do it justice." So I wish I could find that jersey in my pile.
I still have my Sean Taylor jersey, Redskin jersey. I wear it like every Sunday when I do my commentary and stuff.
Mhm.
It's, you know, like, so it's, and then now they have like I think they have a fan, not a fan, some kind of memorabilia they selling with his stuff on there also. So this is good, you know, because some of the players was repping it, you know, and everything like that. So it's good, man. I'm telling you, this is gonna be an emotional game. It's gonna be that game, and then Chase Young comes back too.
Yeah.
Sunday. It's gonna be tomorrow's gonna be like a crazy game. We're gonna have a packed house at FedEx. You know, this probably the second time this year we had a packed house, but it's gonna be crazy. But just watching it, man, it just, I mean, I thought Ed Reed used to hit hard, but good gracious, man, this dude used to that AC, you know, I'll make this point and we can move on. To your point, that what Pro Bowl game you was talking about when that quarterback ran?
I think Sean Mormon's still falling through the earth from that hit. I just got to throw that one out there.
Yeah, I was like, he didn't even see it coming. I was like, this dude tried to run out of bounds and just got lit. The ball went like 30 yards back.
All I could think about was the manager from Rocky. It's supposed to be an exhibition.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Throw in the towel.
Throw in the towel. It's supposed to be an exhibition.
Yeah.
If he dies, he dies.
That was Sean Taylor. If he dies.
Yeah.
He dies.
And no. So I thought he was bigger than this. He was only 6'2". He was my height.
Well, it says 230 on some of the charts, but regardless, that joker played like he was 6'7".
Yeah, I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
So
they called him the Meast. He was half man, half beast.
Half beast.
Good Lord.
Hey, man, I wanted to ask y'all a question, man, as we move on. I'm not sure if you're going there, Ian, but we're getting to that time of year where it's a business decision. Cats like Bryce Young have NFL aspirations. You're not in the BCS championship tournament. When is it okay for a player to sit out the bowl game? But one of you guys okay with it? Are y'all with it? Y'all against it? I'm not sure how y'all feel about it. I know when I was a player, I would play my games. That's my last chance to be a kid. But now everybody has their business hat on at this time of year. And are you upset? Are you okay with it when kids say, "Yo, I'm going for self at this point. Sorry, fellas, I'm not playing in the Outback Bowl, or I'm not playing in the Doritos Bowl, whatever it might be."
Yeah, no. So for this one, I've kind of struggled with this one, simply because, you know, kind of looking, you know, I know it's not the same situation, but just kind of going back and reflecting on the Sean Taylor situation, you don't know when it's going to be your last game. You don't know when it's going to be your last day. It doesn't matter how high your potential is. You know, you're there to play. And I understand that you got your business hat on. You're here to make a business decision. And I understand that there's potentially at least 6 figures on the line, if not 7, depending on which way you go with it. But there's nothing promised in this world. There's nothing guaranteed. If you have a chance to continue to play the game, I would play every game like it was my last game. Especially if I'm a junior or senior, knowing that I have the NFL potential, knowing that I can declare, I would want to play one more time, give back to a school that gave me that opportunity, and just try to do everything I can to get to that moment. And if that means playing it out, okay, cool. Injuries happen. Injuries come, they go. But incidents off the field or in between, that's not promised. I'd rather play for what's promised.
Yeah.
But that's me.
Yeah, I agree. Like I say, I'm a big fan of playing, finishing out with your brothers, and finish it off with your team, finishing the year strong. Even though you're not gonna be in a national championship or you're not gonna be compete for a college football playoff, but you're still gonna be in the New Year's Six Bowl. You got your last game of your college career. You know you're gonna go into the draft because you may be the number one overall pick coming into that draft. Or anyway it goes, Bryce Young gonna get drafted in top 3. He's gonna be a top 3 draft pick. But if it's by my Texans or the Lions or anybody, he's gonna be a top 3 pick in this draft. So I'd rather finish it off, man. I know a lot of people afraid of injuries and stuff like that. You had Gary Wilson sit out last year. Matt Corral played, but he got hurt and he's still not playing. So a lot of the decision making comes down if you sit out, a fear of getting hurt and losing the potential of going in the first round and losing their draft stock. So like I say, for me, I want to put it all on the line, like Ian said, and I want to go out there and play one last game to the school that came out and recruited me and that spent their time working with me and recruiting me as well. So I'd rather take my time, regardless of what bowl game it is, to finish it off with my teammates.
Before you go, Martin, just put it out there. Projected is Bryce Young and Will Anderson, 2 Bama kids, top 1 and 2. And then you got CJ Stroud. Now, if Ohio State loses today and they're no longer in the BCS, these big prominent names are not playing for a national championship. Should they play?
I think they should, just because if they go into the NFL, they already projected, but you still want to show what you have. You want to, because you never know what scouts out there still looking.
There's nothing left to show. They already projected top 5 picks.
Yeah. Well, then in that case, I mean, I would play just, like Ian and Coach Johnson said, to get back to the school. You know what I'm saying? But then again,
forget that school. They got their money off you.
But
you're getting money now because of NIL.
You don't want to risk injury either. So that's another thing. So that's why I think a lot of them don't play in these bowl games. They don't play their last games because they feel that injuries could derail them, for getting picked, or they could get picked and then they still miss a whole year without getting any kind of reps or playing time to, especially if they go number 1 or number 2 or top 5 in the draft and they go to a team needs them to start right then and there, they can't start. That team has to go in a whole nother direction, to find a quarterback until this guy gets ready, So me personally, if you ain't playing in the championship and whatever bowl you playing in, then I won't play. I don't think Nick Saban would have a problem with Bryce Young not playing. I mean, I know Nick Saban gonna want to win that bowl game by any means. So,
well, the bowl game. Let's put this out there, Martin. The bowl game is going to pay your school $10 million or whatever it's going to be, but they are banking on the top name guy being in that game. Like, I'm not watching Alabama play if Bryce Young don't play. So now you're thinking about advertising and marketing the game, and you got all these big time players from Alabama, Will Anderson, Bryce Young, and they're gonna be on the cover just like our Big Dogs graphic. We got big time players. CJ Stroud is gonna be the future. Oh, CJ Stroud is sitting this game out. I think we have to take into that consideration because it's about money, man. This is about money, and how much can you bring to school?
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm split on both. I'm split both ways. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for that analogy that you put out there, I just think Nick Saban, he gonna want to win at all costs. So he probably won't say he want Bryce Young to probably play the first half. He plays the first half and then he sits for the rest of the game and then he puts his future in like that. You know what I'm saying? And then at least he got, especially if they winning, then he's like, okay, you don't have to play and then I put the other guy in, let's see what we have, and then you could just do whatever like that. I could see it going that way.
Yeah, and see, in a situation like that, then I'm 100% okay with it because you still played for your team, and in a way, you almost get a send off on the national stage because
Mm-hmm.
we all know Bama's going to get a New Year's Six Bowl. You're still going to be nationally televised. You're still going to get your moment. But another thing that I was thinking about is when was the last time you ever heard of an Alabama player calling it quits early on Coach Saban?
Exactly.
You don't see it. So it don't matter that they're not in the CFP. They're still going to be in a big time bowl, and they're still going to play it out. Now, I mean, we could see, bigger talent on maybe some lesser teams that might sit it out, and that's fine
Yeah.
too. But I think, your big time programs, I doubt that we see anybody say that I'm leaving early. I think they owe it to Coach Saban or Coach Day, Coach Harbaugh, Smart, these big time names. I think the players almost kind of owe a little bit of a debt to them and
Mm-hmm.
they stay. And then this way, it's a respect thing saying, hey, I respect you as a coach. I respect my teammates. Whenever you say I'm done, okay, cool, I'm done. But I'm not going to leave my boys behind because look at everything that we've been through so far.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me.
That's like a generational thing. It's a generational, like today's kid goes for self. The blood, sweat, and tears that we experienced when we played it was different. Like there was no need to have team bonding. We bonded because we had 2 days. We
Yep.
went through the fire together. Whereas these kids are imports. Half of them kids are portal players for 1 year rental. So there's not no real loyalty there. You came here to become a prospect. You figured Jalen Hurts left Alabama to go to Oklahoma to become an NFL prospect. There was no loyalty there. It was a business decision. He could have stuck it out with Nick Saban because he owed it to him. But no, Nick Saban understood. Hey, man, Tua's my guy now. I understand if you're going to leave. And I think a lot of these coaches are letting down their traditional guard, going back to Mike Krzyzewski at Duke, allowing one and dones to come. When he allowed Kyrie Irving to come to Duke, it was just like, well, I know this kid's going to be a one and done. But if I don't start getting these kids that are expecting the one and done, I'm not going to be able to compete in the recruiting game. I think a lot of NCAA coaches are going to have to change their tune when their star player says, I'm making a business decision, because a lot of these kids are leaving high school with NFL aspirations. And a lot of these kids expect to go somewhere that's going to be okay with their decision whether or not to play in a game that means nothing, because these bowl games are just money for the school. And I understand what you're saying, and you feel like you owe it to that school, but you don't. If you put in 3 good years, you've earned that school millions of dollars. At this point, you got to do what's best for you. Willis McGahee tore his knee off the leg, messing around in the bowl game. But if you got it in you to play. But if you have a doubt that if I go in here and do anything to my body, I'm gonna lose 7 figures, and hopefully they have an insurance policy that will at least take care of their family if anything were to happen in that game. And I had this talk with my son. He wants to play in an all-star game. And I'm like, well, if your school that you're going to go to is guaranteeing your scholarship, it's fine to play in an all-star game. And we had the same talk about if you want to play basketball, play baseball, and run track after football season, what's the risk? The risk is always there. You can get hurt going down the steps. You can get hurt brushing your teeth. You don't want to live in fear and live like that. But as a young kid, these kids are 20 years old, 21 years old. And some of them really want to play. Like you said, I want to play with my boys. Coach Dante said, play with my boys. But sometimes them boys, you've seen them boys in practice. You've seen them boys fall asleep in meetings. You saw them boys tap out, not make a tackle when he could have made that tackle. And you start thinking like, man, I'm out here killing myself. And these dudes ain't even playing hard.
Yep.
You don't forget that stuff. And you get to like, man, we need you to play, man. How come you ain't playing? Because y'all fools didn't watch no film this year. Y'all fools getting in trouble on weekends. Y'all fools are chasing these girls. We're supposed to be at the hotel. We getting caught on bed. Like you seen all these stars sitting out the first quarter, these last few weeks, and they're not saying nothing about it. It's probably it's an inter squad disciplinary problem. and you a star player with NFL aspirations, if I see I got dudes on my team not all sold out and bought in, I'm gonna start making personal decisions about my future, and y'all gonna have to be mad about it. It's not every situation, but I know every situation is unique. That's why I'm like, I'm not totally mad when the kid does sit out. He might know something that we don't know. So
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not mad either. I mean, like I say, all of us good points. Both it can go either way. I mean, Jameson Williams got hurt. He still got drafted in the first round. He still got drafted in the top 12. John Mechie got drafted in the second round. He got hurt. Got drafted in the second round. So you can get hurt and you still can be drafted in the first round based on your talent and your skill alone. So I wouldn't be upset if they sit out either. I mean, it's their choice. It's their future, but also, I wouldn't be upset if they even play and ride it and stick it out. But just like AC said, you got a lot of teams out there. Look at A&M. They are damn dumpster fire. They already suspended a lot of guys already for disciplinary issues. The culture. I mean, Jimbo Fisher lost the locker room completely overall. He lost those freshmen. Freshmen. Just like Martin said, you have no culture in the locker room. You have no discipline. But that's all what it all comes up on. The head coach. That's all on the head coach right there. But not controlling the locker room. And that's why the players go out there and play like how they play and result on the field. I'm not going to go out there and waste my time and bust my behind. I'm out here working, and we all out here not getting it together in the classrooms, not buying in it on the practice field, and it's showing on the field. I'm not going to go out there and just waste my time. I'd rather sit out. So I'm definitely agree with that statement.
And to that fact, about A&M, we talked about the transfer portal. Boy, that transfer portal for A&M might be lit up like a Christmas tree. I'm trying to tell you.
Refunds on the NIL deal. That's the next topic.
Yep, refunds on NIL deals. Are they a thing of the future? Probably yes.
Real spill, man. Real talk.
Yeah.
Real talk, man. Because it's what it is, man. It's like I'm seeing like all these kids just bouncing around, getting their best situation, and it's all about me. It's not about team. And if a coach allows that, you can lose the locker room, even with a group full of talented kids. So I feel for Jimbo. He got his $8 million in his pocket, though. I believe that how much Jimbo's getting? $8 million?
8.5, yeah.
How you get 8.5 and lose the locker room? I'll walk in the locker room. When I walk in the locker room,
they can't buy him out.
That locker room.
If they try to buy him out, they owe him 89 mil up front if they buy him out right now. Dang. 89 mil.
Well, I guess maybe he is acting a fool. Do a Chip Kelly and get fired, get paid twice.
What?
Hey, you signed his contract. That's on you. I stink.
I want to throw something out there with y'all.
Sure.
Now we talked about the NIL. We talked about the transfer portal. All right. So what is the next domino for college realignment to hit? Because it's coming.
The super conferences are coming. I really do believe that the Power Five are all eventually going to become Super 16s. And then the mid-majors are going to be the teams that kind of get left in the dust. Now, granted, they'll still get a seat at the table, but I think it's going to be 5 16-team super conferences playing for 10 spots.
Regardless
maybe
of
11 spots.
Regardless of region.
Mid-major.
Just
regardless of region. I mean, hell, we already got USC going to the Big Ten, so they expanded from Cali to New Jersey.
Yeah, USC, UCLA. It's going to be interesting to see what Oregon, Stanford, and them do next. I think the Big 12 could add. They still could add Arizona, the Arizona states, to that conference.
Bring back Colorado.
Yeah, bring back Colorado. I think the SEC isn't done yet. I think they're gonna try to probably try to find somebody. I godly wish the ACC was to do something. They definitely need to make moves, or I could see the top teams from there leaving, going somewhere else. There's a lot because even though it like 2 years ago when realignment hit at a high, it didn't hit as high this year than it normally did. It just made a little noise. So I'm waiting. I think next year, especially with the college playoff, really going to have a lot of traction to start either in 2024 or 26. I think that's when you probably going to see a lot of teams start jumping ship going into next year.
Honest, yeah, no. At this point, what I think they need to do is they're gonna just have their 5 conferences, and we're gonna have like an NFL draft style, and they're gonna start drafting teams for who they want in their conference.
Mm-hmm.
They want to spread the love. Top 80 teams. You're gonna get thrown on a little spinning wheel. It's gonna be all random. We could see the Pac-12 with Alabama at this point. Now, granted, that's never gonna happen, but it honestly makes more sense than what's happening right now.
What Bubba Dub say? Your grandfather rolling over his grave right now. Rolling over in his grave right now.
It
I
really
mean, it's going to be very interesting.
Bear Bryant rolling over in his grave right now.
Because even with, I mean, the NFL has what, 7? They have 14 playoff spots, 7 on each side. So the college football has 12. I think that should be enough. Even if you have super conference, you're just gonna have. Then that's when you're gonna have to start playing the best. You can't stop. You can't schedule these small schools. You're gonna have to schedule competition because that's the only way you're gonna be able to get parity for these playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. Actually, no. I have one better idea that will flip everything on its head. Notre Dame actually joins a conference.
Never happened.
That's
They're gonna need it.
Yep.
They definitely gonna need it. That's between the ACC and the Big Ten. That's the conference. Doing the 2 conferences that could vie for them. If Notre Dame go to the Big Ten, do they want to deal with all that competition? I mean,
I don't think, man. They gonna get crumbled. They gonna get crushed in that Big Ten.
So my thing is to them go to the ACC, see if you can pull a Stanford over there. See if you could pull West Virginia from the Big 12. Because West Virginia, I mean, academically, they fits the ACC. You can bring that rivalry. You can still see if you can bring a Stanford to ACC. That's a rivalry in itself too. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, there's ways that if Notre Dame, if they still want to have their TV deal, that's fine. Work it out with ESPN because ESPN own the ACC anyway. Fox has a bigger deal right now, but I think the SEC and ESPN will have a larger deal in the future because they could add they're going to probably add 2 more teams to the SEC. I see it coming. You know, now what would be funny if Texas or Oklahoma say, no, we're not coming to the SEC and stay in the Big 12. Oh my God. You talk about throwing salt in your eye.
That's asking for chaos because then the Big 12 becomes the Big 18.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. There's a lot of hypotheticals out there, but I know we're getting close to the end of the show here. So I know we've got the one big game. Who's staying in the top 4? Is it Michigan? Is it Ohio State? And can TCU somehow survive?
I'm going Georgia, Ohio State, TCU. Oh, that last spot.
Do you go 1-loss Michigan or 1-loss USC? 1-loss Clemson?
I don't think Michigan lose today.
We know that Martin Luther King.
Yeah. We'll get to you in a sec, brother. We'll get to you in a sec.
I'm hoping. I got Notre Dame beating SC, so it looks like it's going to be. What's my options again? Who's
that going to leave you with Clemson or 1-loss Michigan?
So if Michigan loses today, and I'm thinking Georgia's the only team that can lose and still be in the top 4.
Correct.
Because Ohio State, I'm thinking if Ohio State beats Michigan, it's going to be by a bunch. But if it's really close, Michigan stays. Okay. It depends on how that game plays out. If Clemson plays really well today, I think they could sneak back in at 10-1. If SC loses to Notre Dame, if SC wins convincingly versus Notre Dame, they sneak in.
Okay. All right, Dante, what you got?
I still got Georgia. I think it's gonna be a scrimmage game. They'll put a massacre on Georgia Tech. That game won't even be close. They may shut out Georgia Tech today. And rest their starter spot in the fourth quarter. So I got Georgia. That's the only team for sure that everybody can agree on. With a loss, they're going to be in a college football playoff, and they still may be a favorite to beat anybody in the college football playoff, even with a loss. But got Georgia. I think Ohio. I got Ohio State. If they can stop the run today, if they can stop the run, and Blake Corum said he's going to give it a go, but he's not looking right, I think that's going to be Michigan downfall right there. But I got Ohio State today. I think they'll stay in the top. They'll be in the top two, but Michigan is going to be out. So I'm going to put Clemson. I'm going to put for right now USC. I'm going to put Clemson in.
I forgot LSU.
Yeah, LSU. Yeah.
Is there a scenario if LSU beats Georgia?
Mm-hmm.
Does LSU sneak up past Clemson and SC?
I think you put them in. If they beat Georgia, I think you'll see your first two loss team. I think you have to consider them in the college football playoff. I think they beat Alabama. They knocked off Alabama. Yes, they did lose to Tennessee, but they knocked off Alabama and they knocked off Georgia, who's the best, arguably who's the best team in the college rankings. So you got to put them in. You got to reward them, especially if Michigan loses. And I think TCU may lose in the Big 12 title game. I think so TCU may lose in the Big 12 title game. I'm not going to rule them out. I think they're a suspect team, but right now I'm gonna go with SC into SC. I'm gonna go with Clemson. My fault. I think SC is gonna get upset tonight. I got SC on upset watch, so I'm gonna put Clemson in there. And for right now, I'm gonna go with TCU. I do think they survived today. So that's my top four. I think Clemson gets in there.
All right, Martin. What about you, bud?
I don't see Clemson getting in. I don't think TCU will lose, but let's say hypothetically TCU lose. I have Georgia. I have Michigan. If SC wins. If SC wins and wins out, they get that third spot. Going to be interesting. This is where it gets interesting because you have LSU, Clemson, and Alabama.
Bama
and one loss, Ohio State.
Yeah, I don't think Bama can pass Ohio State.
I think before Clemson gets in, Ohio State will get back in it before Clemson. I don't see Clemson. See Clemson getting in at all.
If Michigan destroys Ohio State, I think Clemson passes Ohio State.
That's the only. But
if it's close, it's not.
I think either way, USC holds their own destiny. If they win out, I see them getting in. But I don't see, and that's the only way they get in is TCU loses.
I think if TCU loses, they're automatic out. See, that's an automatic out.
It's no, because it's too close to the season. It's too close to the end of the season. So if they lost in the middle somewhere and then work their way back, then you know what I'm saying. But like I said, I definitely got Georgia 1. I got Michigan winning today. I still got TCU winning regardless of what they look like. But case in scenario, if they lose, I see Ohio State getting back up there, and then LSU is not going to beat Georgia, so I'm throwing that out the window. That's not about to happen. And I see USC. I don't see Clemson jumping USC unless USC falters, but I do see Ohio State getting back in there. There's a scenario that the same 4 teams could still be there.
No, it's gonna.
This is somebody got to lose.
This is a scenario. This is why I say TCU. If TCU loses, is gonna be big because say if Ohio State gets beat, like Martin said today, I think if TCU loses, if the TCU loses, whether if it be today or in the Big 12 title game, it's gonna be the top 4. That 4th spot is not gonna be easy. I just remember the committee put Ohio State in the playoff without even winning the Big 10 championship game over Penn State. They put them in 1 year. after not going into the Big Ten championship. So the argument could come down if TCU loses and Ohio State loses today. The argument could come down to Ohio State, Clemson, and USC. And who would you throw in? Who would you throw in that fourth spot? Who would you throw in the last team? That's going to be a compelling argument.
Who travels the
Ohio
best?
State.
The most
Ohio State they'll automatically get it back. So that's why I say that, TCU holds their own fate in their hand. They, and that's why I still gonna roll with them because they're still undefeated. They had, regardless of they, won by the hair of my chin 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 or not. Until they loses, then I still see. And if Ohio State loses, and they still a top 3 at the end of the season, Ohio State could still get right back in there because Clemson ain't strong enough to leap Ohio State. I don't think USC, even if they win, is be strong enough to leap Ohio State back into the top 4. But like AC say, Michigan has to beat them down for Ohio State not to have a chance to return back. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I still see, like I say, at the end of the day, if TCU continues to win out and they went all the way out, Ohio State they're gonna get that next spot in. You know what I'm saying? They'll come back in at the end of the season. You know what I'm saying? Regardless
out of that game, if anybody gonna get beat down, I would say Ohio State will beat Michigan down before Michigan beat Ohio State down. I would say Ohio State will put a good whooping on them if that game even turn. If I pick either one of them teams who will blow out the other, I think Ohio State will beat down Michigan before Michigan beat down. I think Michigan will win in a close game, though. If there was a victory by the pick who win in a close game, it would be Michigan to win in a close game. But for as beat down, I think Ohio State will win in a beat down if it comes to that scenario.
I don't think so because Ohio State hasn't looked good for the last couple of weeks. They have struggled against some teams now. It's not like they've been throwing up 60 points on people. This is a rivalry game. I don't think they're gonna beat. This ain't Michigan from the years back when they was beating them down. I think this series is gonna be close. I think this is the thing. Either one of them could lose and still get back in. That's the scenario right there. But it depends on like you said, if Ohio State does beat them down, then Michigan doesn't have a chance. That open the door for somebody else. I just don't see Clemson making it at all. I don't care what the scenario falls. Clemson, it just ain't. They not gonna be able to leap. Matt Rule took the job, 8-year deal. So that's why I say the Michigan Ohio State game gonna be so close to the committee gonna look at it and say, okay, let's put them back. Everybody's waiting on the TCU to see what TCU does from this game into the Big 12. That's the domino effect right there.
That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest in the college football playoff. If TCU win or loss, especially if they lose, that's going to be the biggest domino right there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and before we get out of here, I'll just throw mine out there. I think it's just going to be 4 conference champions because conference championships should carry more weight. So give me Georgia, give me Ohio State, give me TCU and USC. Just make it easy. The teams with zeros should be there, and then USC being the highest ranked one-loss team, and they'll have a conference championship to boot. They will have beaten Oregon. They will have beaten Utah, Washington. So the ranked wins, they're there. I just don't see how you can have Clemson jump them or anything of that nature. And, obviously the big wild card in that is going to be Notre Dame today. Do they keep this train rolling? And if they do, I think we could very well end up in a situation where maybe the loser of Ohio State, Michigan takes that 4 spot, maybe Clemson, but it's hard for me to see anything else than 4 conference champs, 3 with zeros, and then the best one-loss team with a conference championship. But that's me.
No, agree.
So, all right, guys. Well, that's really about all the time we got. Do y'all have any last thoughts before we get started with week 13 here in about 50 minutes?
Well, I just want to say, whatever happens, college football is going to be very interesting for now to years to come. We'll definitely be talking about this more and more and more. I don't know, man. I like parity. I like rooting for the underdog. You know what I'm saying? I rooted for Cincinnati last year. They got there. Regardless, they lost. And I'm rooting for TCU this year. So the more parity, the better college football is, the better the chaos. So unless that, I'll be tuning into 2 games today, Michigan, Ohio State, and South Carolina. And if South Carolina beat Clemson, we don't have to talk about it no more.
Yep, we won't even have to worry. So, Dante, what about you, bud?
Man, I'm interested to watch my Longhorns won yesterday against a tough Baylor team, watching Kansas State, see if we get an opportunity to compete for a Big 12 title. But if it doesn't happen, still a great season. Sad to see my boy Overshawn and Bijan Robinson leave Texas. But like I say, I'm be interested in watching every game today. And, let's hope my boy Martin Canes can get a dub and get bowl eligible. They got a 7-4 Pittsburgh. I don't want to watch him drink yourself out today, man. I don't want to watch him drink yourself out today. In Miami, you can't go down like that. Not in Miami. You can't do it, man. Y'all can't go down like that.
Man. Trust me, my phone will be standby for the chat because I know my name is gonna be lit up in there today. But we winning today. I'm not even claiming no loss. We winning today.
Just let them boys know.
Like Phil Connors, against all odds, baby, we winning today.
Hey, y'all better tell them the Spanish mommy's not gonna give them no loving if they don't win today. It's gonna be real rough at the club. No entry. Of course, I'm gonna check out the Michigan Ohio State game in a couple minutes. I'm gonna grab me something to eat and enjoy that one. Might give me some warm donuts over at Goodies Donuts and a nice decaf coffee to eat that. That one go down smooth and don't come up rough. And at 12:30, I'm checking out the Oregon game at 12:30. And I'm going to take a look at anything in between there. And I'll be waiting for the SC Notre Dame game, man. That's what I'll take a little glance at LSU, see what they look like against A&M. Since Jimbo done lost the locker room, I don't want to see the Georgia Tech massacre, the red wedding. I don't want to see that. Don't want to, I want to see if Auburn plays tough versus Alabama. Sticks it to Nick Saban is always fun to watch. And I think that's about it, man. I think all the rest of the games is just worth looking at the highlight. And then and again, it's the time of year I'm kind of not looking forward to the Army-Navy game. That means the season's almost over. So
yeah.
But
I was gonna say, being a military kid, I've always looked forward to the Army-Navies. But I don't know if you guys have seen the Navy uniforms, but they're rocking the NASA's this year.
That was nice.
Those are super clean. I'm still waiting to see what Army's going to come out with. But for me, I'm busy everywhere else in the world because from here, I got to go get bundled up and go get my camera ready on top of Tom Bree Stadium up here in Monument, Colorado to shoot some 4A high school semifinals. And then
you're broadcasting live, and
you are looking live at. Oh my God, that's my bottom lip.
And I'm not getting paid enough for this.
Yep. So I'll be there, and then I'll be in Denver doing the D2 basketball later tonight. So I'm gonna be expecting updates in the group chat. I'll put it that way.
All right.
Have a good
day,
man.
Coach Dante. Just a heads up. That play-by-play we did last Sunday. We got over 200 views on it.
Appreciate it. Hey, man. Hey, we can do another one if you want to. You got to get a Bulls one in now.
You want 1,000? You want 1,000 views?
I got to look for
Put a camera on Martin during the Canes game.
Oh my God! Oh yeah, man.
No, we're not doing no play-by-play for the Canes. We not. Well, okay. Let's do this. If they win today and we get bowl eligible, I'll do a play-by-play for the bowl game.
All right.
That's a bet. I got you on that one. Right.
We do a play-by-play.
It'd be funnier you watching it today because they're not gonna make it.
It'll make him drink. He ain't gonna drink all day.
All I gotta say is if they lose, we might not see him again. So
All we need is a before and after picture before the game. Before the game, he like this.
before he looks like this. After the game, his hair gonna go gray. But
I'll be like this here, and then I'm gonna be like this here. No, I'm gonna be like.
Yep.
Nah, yep. I think we'll win today. I'm confident we'll win today. I think
Pittsburgh by 7. Is it Pitt? Who y'all play?
Yeah,
they play Pitt.
They're 7.
They have a pretty decent run game, but that's been our problem. I just don't have trust in Kevin Steele, man. I'm sorry. I have trust in everything else. Kevin Steele just, I don't know what. Man,
y'all can barely run the ball over 100 yards.
Yeah, we spent too much time on the Canes, man. In the show, we done spent way too much time on them Canes.
Yeah.
Hey,
78 yards of offense.
I changed my name on Facebook.
He did.
The Cane.
Yeah,
I did.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, that is it for the show today. We'll be back next week, and be ready because we're going over every single conference championship, and we'll dive into a little bit of bowl predictions. But for Martin, Dante, AC, this is Ian. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Enjoy your college football Saturday, everybody.
All right, guys.
Peace out, you guys.